My name is Gina and I'm a therapist. I work at Prairie St. John's in Fargo. In this mental health education, I want to talk to you about uncertain times and ways to manage our stress. First, think about the different ways that your body experiences stress. For many people, they'll hold it physically in their bodies, either in the form of headaches, stiffness in their shoulders, maybe even in their lower back. It's very common for children to hold different types of stress in the form of a stomach ache or even eye strain. Thinking about the different ways our body can store stress is a better way to understand how we can recognize when this is happening to us and then be able to do something about it. Throughout the day, your body will hold a lot of tension that can be easily released through very simple techniques, which we'll get into later in this video. Stress can manifest itself in different ways depending on your age group or different lifestyle choices you make. We'll also talk about different ways that you can cope with stress and how to better manage very uncertain and trying times that we're facing. There are many different symptoms of stress that people might not recognize. Whether you're in school or going to work every day, you might find difficulty focusing on tasks, feeling lethargic or low energy. You might be feeling irritable, feeling more emotional, tearful, or snapping at other people. Recognizing how your body keeps stress and how you express stress can be a good way to be able to manage it better for both you and your family. Children often find themselves feeling tearful, as if they're ready for a nap or they just need a break. Adults may mimic something similar, in which you need to recognize that it's time to pause, reset, and maybe have a timeout of your own. Whether you have to shut your office door or just go to a quiet space when you can clear your head for a few minutes. These small pauses throughout the day can help break up stress and lessen the effects that it might be having on your school or work. For college-age students, there might be different symptoms such as not being able to sleep or feeling like you need to stay up all night to get different projects done. It's important for everybody to be able to set timers and deadlines for themselves so they know when work needs to pause and when relaxation needs to start. The good news is during these uncertain times, there are lots of different ways that we can cope with stress. Many of you probably know about different distraction techniques. When we're feeling stressed, anxious, depressed, upset, there are a lot of things we can do to distract our minds from what's happening. Deep breathing techniques, watching a funny show, going for a walk. You'll find your own ways to cope with this uncertainty and ways to release your stress. For some people, it's through sports or physical activity. For some people, it's a gentle nap or some soothing music. I'm going to go over a few different coping skills that you can learn when you're feeling especially stressed out. These are very easy and you can do any combination of them. The first one is to just simply breathe deeply and into your stomach. When we breathe up into our chests, we'll actually begin to feel more nervous. But if you put your hand on your stomach, and some people it helps to put one hand on their chest, just breathe deeply until you feel your belly button expanding. When you get these big, deep breaths into your diaphragm, that's where the true relaxation will start. The key to reducing stress through breathing techniques is not actually in how deeply you breathe or in how low your stomach you breathe, but actually how slowly you breathe out. There are many different apps and tools you can use, but one of them that can make it really easy is thinking of your breathing as a square. You can breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold it again for 4 seconds. Everybody will have a different lung capacity, so finding a different number set for you will be really important. And remember, the goal is to breathe out as slowly as possible, trying to work your way up to exhaling for 7 to 8 seconds. These easy breathing techniques can do wonders in helping you understand that there are ways to calm down where you don't need any other tools or resources. Again, the 4 square breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold for another 4 seconds. Keep doing this until you can get up to a minute or 2 minutes. And remember, the more you practice and the longer you practice, the better the effects will be for you. Another distraction technique that you can use to cope with stress is the simple visualization technique. You can sit in a nice quiet room, roll your shoulders back, and close your eyes. Just imagine that you're at your favorite place. For this example, I'll use the beach. Imagine walking along a nice sandy beach. Bring all of your senses into this experience. Feel the warmth of the sun as it touches your skin, and feel the hot sand beneath your feet. Imagine that you can hear the waves lapping up against the shore, and maybe some wind or even a seagull in the background. Just picture yourself walking along this beach, doing everything you can to absorb yourself into that moment. Now imagine sitting down on the beach, finding the perfect spot where there's nobody else near you. Just imagine looking out into the rolling blue waves, hearing the peaceful, rhythmic sounds, and finding a way to just simply be at peace and relax. Know that you can stay in this moment for as long as you want. There's nowhere to go or nowhere to be, just to simply take care of yourself and relax. For many people who are working from home or completing school from home, it's important to establish some sort of schedule and routine, knowing that there has to be a lot of flexibility built into each day. It's important for people of all ages to have the same wake-up time, and even on the weekends not to deviate minus or plus 1 hour from when you're generally waking up. So if you normally get up at 7 a.m. on the weekdays, you shouldn't be sleeping past 8 a.m. on the weekends. Keeping this schedule can establish some stability and some routine during an otherwise very chaotic time. It's important also to set in meal breaks, times where you can get some fresh air outside, times where you might have to do indoor fitness, times where you schedule to chat with friends or family. You can also put in some leisure time or different self-care time. Finding a schedule that works for you, knowing you're going to be changing it throughout the days and weeks. For families who have parents working from home and children doing school from home, it's important to schedule time away from one another so that the stress of being in close proximity doesn't get to the point where people are fighting or arguing or being irritable towards one another. Any adult, whether you're at work or working from home, will benefit from finding healthy ways to segment their day, always trying to keep their actual work to about 8 hours a day, any leisure, fitness, or fun activities to another 8, and then sleeping for the remaining 8 hours. In this next section, I want to talk about changing negative thoughts. You all know someone who tends to lean more on the negative side. It might be sunny and 75 out, but they still complain about the weather. Being able to recognize these thoughts can be hard, so asking someone close to you to point out when your thought stream is getting negative can be really helpful to making positive changes. Every time you think of something is not going your way, consider what the opposite might be. So let's say your car has a flat tire. The opposite might be the tire blowing out on the highway while you're driving 75 down the interstate. Thinking about a small inconvenience like a flat tire in a parking lot, by comparison, seems a lot safer. There are other ways to change your negative thinking just by recognizing that you're doing it. For example, when you think about all the heavy snowfall that this region tends to get, you can think about an opposite climate that maybe you wouldn't enjoy living in, such as the desert where it gets up to 117 degrees. Another resource you can use to help change your thoughts is a therapy called CBT, which stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. It's really simple to learn and can be helpful in recognizing negative thought patterns. So thoughts lead to feelings, and feelings lead to actions. Imagine your thought of getting stuck in traffic. What first comes to mind? Oh, I'm going to be late. This is so frustrating. Why are all these people going the same direction that I'm going? When you have that thought, you might start to feel stressed, anxious, upset, and then your behaviors will reflect that feeling. You might start tailgating the person in front of you, beeping your horn, doing other behaviors that don't really align with who you want to be. So in order to change this, you have to go back and change how you think about the situation. So the next time you think you're stuck in traffic, how can you think about that differently? One way is to think, now I have some time to myself. I can turn on the radio and listen to a favorite song. I can download a podcast before I leave the house and hit play when traffic starts getting heavy. Once you think about it differently, you feel differently. Now, rather than thinking you're going to be late and this is really frustrating, you think, what a gift to have this time to myself. Extra minutes where I can relax before I get to my destination. Once you start listening to your favorite song or podcast or just doing some deep breathing techniques, then you start to feel better and your actions reflect who you want to be. You'll be a patient, compassionate driver. Now I want to talk about healthy boundaries with negative media and social media. So think about putting blocks on your social media accounts, either removing the apps from your phone or deleting your accounts altogether. When you have your TV on, limit the amount of time that you spent watching the news or listening to different news sources. While in some respects people want to be informed, in other respects the amount of negative images and media that comes through us each day can be really troubling without recognizing it. You might be experiencing low mood, stress, or anxiety simply from watching the news without recognizing that this is happening to you. With your family and friends, be sure to set clear boundaries, especially if you have differing opinions from them. Letting them know what you're willing to talk about and topics that you would prefer just to avoid. Especially with the holidays coming up, it can be really good to have a game plan as you're going into events where you'll be surrounded by family and friends, maybe after several months of not seeing them. When you're on social media, if there are certain people that cause a lot of stress or anxiety for you, don't hesitate to mute, block, unfollow. Just trying to remove this negativity from your life isn't you doing something negative towards them, it's doing something positive towards yourself. These stressful times are so uncertain right now that you can do things to curate a very positive life for yourself. As long as you're polite to those around you and show kindness, they should be respectful of these boundaries that you're setting for yourself and for your family. Also, talk to your children about people on social media or in school that tend to get under their skin. If these people are bothersome to you when you see their images or see different things that they're posting, don't hesitate to get them off of your feeds. Creating as much positivity in your life while there's uncertainty and negative images happening all around you can be a good buffer for all of the negativity being experienced right now. To recap, the focus of this mental health education is on uncertain times and better ways to cope with stressful situations. We talked about ways to recognize stress, either in ourselves and others, and different ways to cope with stress, whether it's through distraction techniques or changing our thoughts. Always remember that if something's getting to a point where it doesn't feel right, there are professionals out there that you can meet with to help you through these difficult times. If whatever situation you're going through, or someone in your family, a friend, or a coworker, if this starts to become a crisis, be sure to reach out. There are resources in every community, and we want you to be able to access Prairie St. John's for different mental health needs. Thank you for taking a moment to invest in mental health today. During these isolating and challenging times, please remember that we are in this together, and there is hope and healing.